So we need the flat 5, right? So that's going to be a C note. So I'm going to write the 8th fret on the low E string. All right. Then the D string, we need the flat 3rd. So flat 3rd of F sharp minor. It's going to be the 7th fret of the D string. And then the flat 7 of F sharp. It's going to be right there. I'm thinking in relation to that root to help me find them. So that's going to be the 9th fret of the G string. All right, and now the B string, we need the root. So that's going to be the 7th fret of the B string. So now the shape looks like that. Yeah, they're all really, yeah, it never ceases to be cool. You can start with the lamest voicing ever, and you're going to have 3 like, whoa, this is a really cool chord. All right, so now I've got this, and this. All right, have you got that one all tabbed out? 8, 7, 9, 7. Yep. All right, so now the last one. We need the flat 7 in the E string, so that's going to be the E note. So I'm going to I'm going to tab out 12. And then we need the flat 5 on the D string. So that's going to be the 10th fret. I saw that in relation to the root here. So anyway, we need the 10th fret of the D string. Now on the G string, we need the root. F sharp. So that's going to be the 12th fret. Oh, sorry, 11th fret. Flat 3rd. Here's how I do it. Here's your F sharp, right, that you're used to finding. Yeah. A. Yeah. So it's going to be 10th fret. 10th fret. 10th fret. There we go. All right, so now our shape is like that. So I'm starting with my ring finger. 12, 10, 11, 10. And then it starts all over. It's just hard to do with these little... So we got this. And then we start over. Actually kind of cool. The first one and the second one look very similar. Little tiny frets. Hard. The way most people handle inversions, is it's only the low note that matters. That's not like the technical way is where you take your 3 notes and you take the low one and raise it an octave. So then your second lowest note becomes your lowest note, and your previously lowest note becomes the highest note. And you continue that process. That's the technical way of how it's done. So like, here's your triad, boom, there's your new triad, boom, there's your new triad, and then boom, there's your original triad. And you went from the low triad to the octave higher with those inversions on the way. That's like the technical way. Most people think of inversions as just the low note. So like if you're C triad, or C major 7, we'll say, if you're C major 7, it has the root. You could do one voicing all the time like this. I'll do just a C triad here, but I'm going to do low notes below it. So here's the root position, 3rd inversion, 5th inversion, and then I don't know if I said that right. Root position, 1st inversion with the 3rd in the bass, 2nd inversion with the 5th in the bass, and then the 3rd inversion with the 7th in the bass. That's the way a lot of people think of it. See, I just did this every time. And all I did was change, the low note. That's the way a lot of people think about inversions. It's a good way to think about them on the fly. And what we're doing though is um, we're kind of, instead of moving one voicing up and getting our new thing, we're moving them all up to the next note that's within our original chord. So like we've started with like proper chords here, like triads with a seventh on them. And we've done it with just diatonic, notes. But you could do it with nines too. So like if you had a C major 9 or something, I have one written here like this. And so it's root, third, 7, 9. And so then when I move them all up, the root becomes the 9. The third becomes the 7, the 7 becomes the root, and the 9 becomes the third. So at no point do I put a fifth in the chord. My original shape did not have a fifth in it, so there's never going to be a fifth when I'm inverting my voicings. There is a 9 in it, so that means that every voicing is going to have a 9 in it. Cool? And so then I took this original thing, or this one, I guess technically, major. Well, yeah, that one, and I put a 9 in it. So I had to change the order of the voices, but this is really calming here, so I'll talk, some really, I don't know, you hear all the time, to the point of being kind of like, oh, that one again, kind of lame. But what it became was kind of cool, I think. Let's see what happened here. I don't have time to go through them all, but just as an example, 5, 9, 5, 5, it became that. So this is the second voicing, and then this, that's the next one, and then, oh, this is the last one, the third version, and then back to the original. I remember this, actually. I love this one. This one's so cool. And this one's super cool. Those are the two I really like to use all the time. That one, I want to remember that. Yeah. And then this was the last one, which is... Did I do that right? It was so easy this time. Couldn't have been right. Yeah. It was so hard the time before that. Is that for real? Yeah, it is. Nice. Okay, so... Oh, yeah? Do this at least with one new chord, like take one chord, doesn't have to be a new chord, just one chord, and then figure out what the other 3 new chords would be. Chances are you haven't played any of them. No matter how many times you played the chord you started with, the 3 subsequent chords are ones that generally I've certainly never thought of, like just thought of them. They're always discoveries, and kind of like really fantastic discoveries. You could, now I'd say do it at least with one chord. But I mean, like, you could do, like I say, you could do one in 15 minutes, and if you practice a half hour a day, you could come up with 3 new shapes from one original shape for 15 minutes, and then spend 15 minutes practicing them. And every day you'd have what, 3 times 7 technically, which is what, 21? Yeah. So you have 21 new chords each week. The problem is you'll never, maybe you will, I don't know. You'd have to practice a lot of hours, more than a half hour a day, to internalize and really make those chords known. Like the ones I just kind of walked through right now were ones I played back when I gave this lesson a previous time, because we chose a different chord arbitrarily. And I love those voicings, and I never use them. I never think of them even. So to memorize them, I just have to use them a lot. I have to consciously use them as often as I can, regardless of how unmusical it's going to be that I'm just playing the same chord all the time. Then when you memorize it, then then it's just part of what like all the other chords, and it's not a stretch to play them. Not a stretch psychologically, them. Anyway, any questions about all that, man? The way I like to call it inverting your voicings. Because, like I say, if you the voicing you use for C major chord, C major 7 chord, or whatever, the voicing will become 3 sort of subsequent voicings. And if you did the C major 7 starting with a different voicing than that one that you started with, it would have 3 different voicings. So even though we'd still be playing one chord all the time, you know, and we'd be playing different inversions of the same chord, we would be playing different voicings. Yeah, I mean we're doing the inner 4 strings there, but you could do the higher 4 strings and get different shapes, or the low 4, or some combination. You could do the low E, the D, and the G, and the B. I don't even know what that would look like, but yeah, it's an exploration thing, and then you're guaranteed to find all kinds of cool stuff, and the stuff that you know the least, or that you seem the most interested in after you discover them. That's where I should put it. Really, the ones that strike you as the coolest sounding are the ones you probably learn, like really learn, like internalize, so you never forget them. And some will be really cool, but they'll be that rule about not changing the strings. There's times where I've broken the rule, but only when it was like really impossible. So impossible, yeah. That C major 9 one that we just walked through. What I did was after I did a major 9, let's say, I did the same voicing, but I did it as a dominant chord and as a minor chord, since those are the 3 most common chord types. So like the one we originally started with, you could do that as a dominant, you could do it as a minor, and then when you had one shape originally, plus its dominant and minor version, then you had those 3 shapes that became 12 shapes total. And then with those 12 shapes, you should be able to play basically any song in a real book, because the harmonized scale is all made up of major 7, minor 7, and dominant 7 chords, plus the minor 7 flat 5. And that's, if you know the minor 7, then you can just flat the 5 on it, and that'll give you 3 more shapes, 4 shapes total. And so if there's 4 diatonic chord types, that means that from one original voicing, and the same voicing being modified for dominant and minor 7 flat 5, that's a lot. It's a lot to internalize. And the reason you'd want all 12 is so that you could change chords within one position, and have good voice leading when you're playing in a real book. And that'd be the thing to do. Take those 12 shapes. And we can talk more about this next week, because it's a huge topic if you're interested to take it farther. You could take those 12 chord shapes and exclusively use those in real book tunes. That's a good way to memorize them. And you turn the page and do the next song with the same shapes,